Now, in this particular lecture, we will be seeing regarding the national income of India. So let's start. The national income measures the net value of goods and services produced in a country. Very important. Net value of goods and services. Okay, they are telling about the net value and how the net value is calculated. So it is having several different indexes that we are going to study, like in terms of different concepts. Like from here you will be seeing that how the net value of the goods are actually measured in different countries, okay, during a year. And it also includes net earned foreign income. Yes, this will also include the net earned foreign income. Like if suppose you are an Indian and if you are residing in USA, then whatever you are getting in USA, so that will also be counted in the national income of your own country, that is India. Okay, so there are several measures we will be discussing. Okay, in other words, a total of national income measures the flow of goods and services in an economy. National income is a flow, not a stock. Many of the students are simply understanding that the national income is something like whatever you are saving or whatever a country is saving for them. No, whatever the flow is there, if you are even purchasing a particular pen, okay, suppose if you are purchasing a pen and if it is costing rupees 10, okay, so that will also be included in the flow of a particular country. Okay, so even there are millions of products, okay, there are billions of transaction, everything simply includes the national income of a country. So here we need to study regarding India. Okay, as contrasted with national wealth, which measures the stock of a commodities. Yes, national wealth, there is a difference between national income and national wealth. National income simply shows the flow, okay, but whatever you imagine like a stock, okay, so that stock is simply known as national wealth. Okay, so national wealth is something you consider as stock, like whatever, like in terms of gold you are having, okay, like gold reserves are there, there are many other reserves also there are some stock reserves also. So that is known as national wealth, okay, which measures the stock of a commodity held by nationals of a country at a point of time. National income measures the productive power of an economy in a given period to turn out goods and services for final consumption. So I think this will be simply readable to you. Okay, now next thing is concepts of Indian national income. Okay, so how a national incomes are calculated, there are various concepts. The very first concept is like per capita income. You can define, like there are various concepts, and with respect to various these concepts you will be able to define the national income. Okay, there are various indexes which are defined with respect to these concepts. Okay, so the very first concept which we are going to study here is per capita income. And one more thing, there can be a possibility that with respect to one concept the national income of a country can be more or less. Okay, like if you are seeing regarding the per capita income, there can be a possibility that India will be very far behind with respect to other countries. But when you will be comparing the GDP concept, then in that context India is at 5th position. So it all depends upon the concept with respect to which you are defining the national income of a particular country. Okay, the very first thing is per capita income, so that I had already told you. So this is simply defined by national income divided by population. So if suppose the national income of a particular country is defined by the GDP of the country, then that GDP divided by population will be simply giving you the per capita income. Okay, so it is a measure of amount of money that is being earned by a person in a certain area. Okay, so that is per capita income. And even I had given you the data that it is almost along 11,700 or 300, okay, per month, okay, for Indian people. Now talking about the GNP. So GNP is not a very famous term for India, because India is a country whose GDP is greater than GNP, and whenever such situation arises, this is a situation of inflation. I think this I had already told you in the previous lecture. And whenever this GNP becomes greater than GDP, then in that case it is known as deflation. Okay, in that country the situation of deflation will be there. So this is a very general thing and I will not be going much deeper into this particular concept because it will become a core economy. We don't need to get much deeper into that. Okay, so now let us see. The national product refers to the gross national products refers to the money value of total output or production of final goods and services produced by the nationals of the country. Underline this particular thing, much important, by the nationals of a country. And these nationals can be inside their own country or they can be residing in any other countries also. Okay, so whatever the final value of their wealth is there, so summing up all those wealths, okay, that will be contributing to GNP during a given period of time, generally a year. Okay, financial year is defined, so in that particular financial year even these GNP and all are defined. In the calculation of GNP, we include the money value of goods and services produced by nationals outside the country also. Okay, that's only I am telling you that we are focusing on the nationals, and these nationals can be inside the country also and these can be outside the countries also. Even I can give you a very general example, like there is a PSU which is ONGC. Okay, so ONGC is simply like they are having their plants in India also and they are having their plants in other countries also. Okay, so what will happen, that whatever the overall sales which is going on in India or whatever the flow of money which is going inside India, so that will only contribute in the GDP. Listen this particular thing. Okay, if it is only in India, okay, then in that case it will only contribute in GDP. But if we are calculating GNP, then whatever it is going inside India plus whatever the money which is earned inside the boundaries of other countries also, so that will also gets add up. Okay, and that will overall constitute the GNP. Okay, so that is simply the situation. I think it will be very easy, okay, and it will be clear to you. Hence, income produced and received by nationals of a country, nationals, this is the focus. Okay, within the boundaries of foreign country should be added in gross domestic product of the country. So this is an important part. Within the boundaries of the foreign country should be added. Similarly, the income received by the foreign nationals within the boundary of the country should be excluded from the GDP. Okay, so all these things I will be clearing all such thing. So whenever you will be writing the equation of GNP, then what will happen, like its formula is simply becoming GDP plus X minus M. So what is X and M? Okay, like this is showing you the formula. Okay, like when you will be seeing the formula of GDP, then what will happen from this equation, what will happen, GDP will be becoming GNP plus M minus X. This will be your GDP. Okay, yes or no? And GNP will be simply this one. So in this formula, okay, that is only here shown in the format of language. Okay, like what exactly is X? X is income earned and received by nationals within the boundary of foreign country. Okay, so whenever a national is inside the boundary of some another country, like if an Indian is residing in Japan, then whatever the income which has been earned by him, okay, so that will be simply added here. Okay, and if suppose some foreign nationals are there, okay, if because in our country, because we are calculating or we are focusing on only our nationals, like we are only focusing on Indians, but in India it's not like that only Indians are residing, foreigners are also there. Okay, the foreign companies are also there. So when we are only focusing on the nationals, then we have to exclude the income which has been earned from the foreign nationals. That's it. So this is a very simple concept, and even when you will be understanding all these concepts, it will be very easy for you to remember these formulas. There is no need to mug up. Okay, So I had already told you that in GNP we will be only focusing on the nationals, okay? And if suppose inside our country, if suppose some foreign nationals are also there, then in that case we will be simply subtracting the income which has been earned from them, okay? And if suppose our nationals are in some another country, then that will be simply getting added. That's it, okay? But in the formula of GDP, so take care of that thing. You have to first understand the concept of GNP, and from there you have to define GDP. Okay, it's not like that we will be covering a separate concept for GDP. No, so that will be considered later on. So I will be telling you. So in this will be totally clear now. If X is equal to M, like if suppose the income earned from our nationals, okay, like from other countries, is equal to the income received by foreign nationals within the country, then in that case GDP will be equal to GNP, and it is known as the closed economy. And even for this, the example, the very close example is Brazil, that I had already told you, okay? And even X and M can be zero also. Even it's not like that it is exactly equal to zero, okay? So actually Brazil is example of this particular case, like when X is equal to M is equal to almost zero. It's not exactly equal to zero, but it's almost negligible, that we can say, okay? Like there is nothing zero, okay? It's not like that even you are going to visit Brazil someday, okay? So that will be getting added, but that contribution towards the Brazilian economy, that will be totally negligible. That's why we consider it as almost zero, and that's why the Brazil is also a kind of closed economy. Then also GNP will be equal to GDP. In the equation format, we can say that X minus M. What is X? The money which has been earned by our nationals, by Indians in other countries, minus income received by foreigners in our country, in India, okay? Like very general example I will be giving you right now. Like suppose this is our India, okay? I'm simply drawing like a Venn diagram, okay? And in India I'm simply making a partition, okay, of an Indians and non-Indians, okay? Suppose the money earned by the Indians, okay, suppose it is 50 crores, okay? Just I'm talking about the Indians, okay? And the non-Indians, they are earning suppose 20 crores, okay? And some another country also there, like whatever the rest of the country are there, in that country also Indians will be there, okay? So in that country Indians are earning 30 crores, just for example. So the GNP will be equal to this 50 crores. Like overall it is 70 crores. If we are talking about the GDP of this India, then it will be 50 plus 20 crores, it will be 70 crores, yes or no? But if we are talking about the GNP of this country, then what will happen? This 50 crore, it is purely Indian, okay, plus the income earned by the national from the foreign nation, okay? It is an Indian only, okay? So this 30 crore will also get added up, and 80 crore will be your GNP. 50 plus 30, it will be 80 crore, so that will be GNP for Indian nation, okay? But you are already knowing that GNP is less than for India, so this case is not actual, okay? It's not a factual data, I am just simply giving an example, okay? So if suppose, again I am repeating, if someone tells you that what will be the GDP, so it will include the cash flow from both Indians and non-Indians, and it will only focus on the boundary of a particular country. It will not see that inside the boundary of a particular country whether you are calculating the incomes of the nationals or non-nationals, okay? So that is an important part, okay? Next I can tell you regarding GNP, here we focuses only on the nationals, not on the boundary. This is the very basic difference. So X minus M is nothing, okay? Like X is what? It is the income of our nationals. M is what? It is the income of the foreigners. So when you will be calculating the difference of that, that will be known as NFIA, net factor income from abroad. So that is very important. I should simply write it down. NFIA, what is the full form of that? NFIA, I should simply wait a second. Yeah, NFIA is nothing, it is simply net factor income, okay, from abroad. So this is the thing which you need to consider. Okay, so X minus M is known as NFIA, and we are already aware that for India GDP is greater than GNP. So when GDP will be greater than GNP, when NFIA is negative. That is a very important concept which is generally important for several examination in economy part. Okay, so NFIA will be negative for India. Okay, and this NFIA negative only represents that it is a situation of inflation. And what exactly that means? The net factor income from abroad. One more thing we can say that this M, it is nothing like it is kind of export. Okay, or you can say that we are importing more. Okay, like in India we can say that import is more and export is less. So that is also that is also a kind of concept which this NFIA also shows. Okay, so I think that will be clear to you. Now GDP is the total money value of all the final goods and services produced within the geographical boundaries of the country. So that I had already told you earlier that GDP only focuses the geographical boundary of the country, that does not focus that whether we are calculating the cash flow of a national or a non-national. So domestic product emphasizes the total output which is raised within the geographical boundaries of the country. National products focuses not only on the domestic product but also on the goods and services produced outside the boundary of the nation. Okay, so that thing is considerably important for GDP. Okay, one more thing I can tell you, like Samsung. I could simply give you an example of Samsung. So Samsung is a company. Okay, like you will be telling that suppose it is a Korean company. Okay, so if it is a Korean company, then what will happen when it is establishing its own factory in India? Then what will happen? It will be giving wages to the Indian people. Okay, it will be generating several kind of employments in India. Okay, it will be selling its goods in India. So what can be only taken outside the geographical boundary of India? That is only the profit. Like this Samsung is producing several things, like the cash flow is not only related to this. So raw material, okay, raw material, employment, okay, like other kind of supply chains, okay, plus marketing. Okay, so there are several things. I'm simply writing etc. Okay, so all these things are done within the Indian geographical boundary and even by the Indian people. Okay, like several CEOs are appointed for different countries of a particular company. Okay, so what can happen, like even all these things are done within the country of a particular nation, but the only thing which is adamant here is the profit. Okay, it is something separate. Okay, this is actually taken outside the India. Okay, so this is taken outside India, so that will be only subtracted here. Like first of all you will be counting out, and whenever you will be calculating the overall GDP, okay, so even that will also get counted. Like this is a profit of a foreign national, so that will also be counted here in GDP for once. Okay, but when you will be calculating the GNP, this profit will be simply getting eliminated. Okay, like this is not ours profit. Okay, this is a foreign profit. Okay, so that will be simply subtracted. Now, so these two are more famous, GDP and GNP. Like several countries are still following GNP. India is following GDP. Okay, net national product. This is also a kind of an index which is calculated by various nations earlier, but not right now. NNP is obtained by subtracting depreciation value from GNP. There is always a depreciation value. Okay, like whatever the value of a product today is there, okay, like after 2 years the same value will be getting depreciated. So from the GNP, if you are subtracting the depreciation amount, and in this depreciation various kind of money is included. Okay, so I will not be elaborating here further, I will be telling you. Okay, so that will be known as net national product, NNP. Okay, national income. GNP is based on market prices of produced goods. Okay, GNP is based on market prices of produced goods or services, which includes direct taxes also and the subsidies also. NNP can be calculated in two ways. The depreciation is what? Like if you are offering some subsidy on a particular product, so what is that? It is kind of depreciation also. If you are giving a kind of discount, so that is also a kind of depreciation also. You were having a a possibility of gaining more, but you had given a discount. Okay, like right now I am, like, suppose whatever this DFCCIL course is there, suppose it is costing 2,800. Okay, so this is the actual cost. But if suppose I am offering 20% discount to you, okay, if I am offering 20% discount to you, then this 20% discount is my potential loss, and it will be directly included in my depreciation cost for the same service. Like I am giving you a service right now, so that service discount will be simply considered as the depreciation for this DFCCIL course. That's it. Okay, so that will be my net income from my product. Okay, so it will be included in NNP. It will not be included in GNP. Okay, like in GNP, this 2800 will be counted. This 2800 will be counted. Like if my product is of 2800, that will be counted in GNP. But if suppose some discount will be there, so that will be subtracted and known as NNP. So some countries also calculate NNP, but if you are subtracting something, then it will become less, and you will be like in various indexes you will be like little inferior with respect to other countries. That's why this particular index is not that much famous as the GDP is there, because GDP is including everything, and even sometimes quantity also matters. Okay, like if USA is want to show off, like show off is also a criteria in the world, in between various nations of your world. So that's why GDP is also more famous. GDP is something which will be showing you a higher value. Okay, now so NNP can be calculated in two ways. One at the market price, this is very important. One at the market price and another is at the factor cost. Now what is market price and factor cost? That I will be telling you right now. First, market price is something, okay, like it is, I think, not properly visible to you. Market price is the price that consumer will pay for the product when they purchase it from the seller. That is the market price. I will be telling you once again, I will be repeating this particular thing. Suppose if the seller is producing that particular product at the cost of 100 rupees. Okay, like whatever the factor cost refers to the cost of factors of production that is directly incurred by a firm. Okay, and this cost will include everything, the raw material, okay, whatever the raw material is there, okay, plus whatever the electricity charges, okay, electricity plus manufacturing, okay, plus other security charges, okay, everything, whatever the overall, okay, plus rest of the thing, okay, plus some profit also in other sense. Okay, so that will be known as the factor cost. Okay, like the daily wages also, okay, which you are giving to your laborers, so that will also be included here, everything. Okay, suppose after adding all of the thing in every product, suppose it is costing rupees 100 to that producer. Okay, so that is known as factor cost. But if suppose that seller is adding some taxes on it, like if suppose like you might be using some recharges, if you are having a Wi-Fi, then in that case suppose Jio Fiber, okay, if you are having a Jio Fiber, then what happens, they will show you that the plan is of 12.99, okay, but when you will be checking out, then what will happen, they will be adding 18% GST also. Okay, so here what will happen, this 12.99, it is something like factor cost to Jio. Okay, But after adding 18% GST, and suppose there can be other taxes also included here, so that will be simply known as whatever after adding that, whatever the amount which is the final amount, okay, that will be known as your market price. That is the actual purchasing cost for that particular product or service. So there is two important thing. Okay, if suppose some selling is there directly from the producer, so in that case you will be considering the factor cost. Okay, and if suppose some goods are purchased from the from the firms or from various sellers, then in that case it will be considered with respect to the market price. Okay, this is also a reason that from this market price that CPI index was used. It is currently being used, and even for the factor cost calculation WPI is used. So this is the very important thing. Okay, so I'm not getting that much deeper into that. It's not necessary for you right now. Now next thing which I need to include is wait a second, yeah, that's okay now. So when NNP is obtained at factor cost, it is known as national income. That is important. Now when you will be calculating NNP and at the factor cost, okay, like from the producer end only, that is known as your national income. Very important. National income is calculated by subtracting net indirect taxes. Okay, subtracting the net, like if you are paying something, the tax is going to government. Okay, it's not your income. You have to simply subtract that particular thing. Okay, so net and that the national income, okay, so is calculated by subtracting net indirect taxes from NNP at market price. Yes, of course, if you had buy something, so that you must have purchased it at the market price only, okay, like on the MRP. But after that you have to even give some taxes also. So from that you have to, like, that is not your income. Okay, it is income of the government. Okay, so inside that market price, whatever the taxes are involved, that will be simply your not income. It will not be your income. So that's why you have to subtract that. And if suppose you are getting some subsidy, that is actually your income, like in a cylinder, in a LPG cylinder. Okay, like suppose I am simply talking to you that okay, this cylinder is costing 500 rupees, but someone has told that 5% GST is also applicable. So 5%, when you will be adding 5% GST, then you will be adding 25 in that. Okay, so the market price will be 525. So you will be giving this 525 to the seller of this LPG cylinder. Now when I had asked that seller, then is this 525 is the the income of that seller? No. In this 525 rupees, he had to give 25 to the government as a tax. Okay, and in this 525 there can be a possibility that he has been given some subsidy also. So subsidy means what? Like it is a kind of discount only. Okay, like if that amount, like suppose this cylinder has actually cost only rupees 100 to that seller, because he had bought from the subsidy side and he had sold in black in the market in rupees 525. So that subsidy will be a kind of his own income only. That's why this subsidy is getting added here. Okay, so when we are calculating the national income from the market price, from the NNP market price, we will be subtracting the indirect tax and we will be adding the subsidiary. So from here also you are calculating the per capita income. So per capita income is national income divided by the population. And how this national income is calculated? National income is simply known as NNP, net national product at factor cost, and even I had told you regarding the factor cost also. Okay, and how it is calculated? From the market price you will be subtracting the indirect taxes and you will be adding the subsidy. Hope it will be clear to you. Okay, like how much subsidy will be there? If I can tell you how much subsidy is there, like he has actually purchased in 100 rupees from the government side. Okay, because government has provided 400 rupees subsidy to him. Okay, so it is a kind of discount but this discount he has not offered to the customer. So this 400 rupees will be actually his own full income. Okay, and in this 400, what will happen? Okay, it is directly getting into his pocket. Okay, so this is included in his income. Rest, he has charged 525 from the customer, and in that 525, 25 will be the taxes. Okay, so overall, when we can say that, like, what is the actual income? So I think you will be now able to calculate that very easily. Okay, remove the indirect taxes, add the subsidy in the NNP market price. Okay, now next, personal income. Personal income is that income which is actually obtained by nationals. Okay, so again, in personal income index, again we will be only focusing on the nationals. Okay, previously GNP was there, which was focusing only on the nationals, but that GNP includes the flow of products. Right now, in personal income, we are only focusing on the income, and how income is calculated, that I should tell you right now. Okay, personal income is obtained by subtracting the corporate taxes and payment made for social security provision from national income and adding to it government transfer payments, business transfer payments, and net interest paid by the government. Sir, we don't have, we even not understand a single percentage of this sentence. So overall, when I will tell you that what exactly is personal income, simply see, from the national income, I am subtracting whatever the profit of a corporation is there. Okay, like always, a corporation will be taking their own profits. Okay, nobody is your own in relation. Okay, so they will not give you always something. Okay, of course they will be taking their own profits. Okay, after that you will be even subtracting all the security provision payments, like the cess percentage also. Okay, some security payments are also involved in that. Okay, so you will be subtracting that also. Some corporate taxes are also there, so that also you will be subtracting. Now government is transferring some payments to you. Okay, so that will be simply added. Some business transfer payments will be there into your account, so that will be added. Next is net interest paid by the government. Like if you are having a savings account, then suppose if you are having suppose 10 lakhs rupees in your bank account, okay, and they are offering 4% or 5%. So whatever the interest they are offering, or whatever the interest offered by the bank, so that will be directly your personal income, so that will also get added up. Okay, so in this whole national income, you will be subtracting all kinds of taxes, and you will be adding all such things which government is offering you in terms of some transfer payments, in terms of some business payments, and some interest payments. Okay, it should always be kept in mind that personal income is a flow concept. Okay, again I am telling you, it's not a kind of wealth, it is not a kind of stock, it is simply a kind of flow concept. So please remove that feeling of a stock. Okay, like stock, like or a wealth. Okay, so remove this concept. Like this is now like always people ask that what is your in hand salary. So that in hand is not your personal income. Okay, like if you are applying for DFCCIL and there it is mentioned that the salary will be around 60,000 to 1,30,000. Okay, so what will happen in this 1,30,000? There are several, facilities are provided to you. Okay, which you cannot ignore that. Okay, like you cannot ask them that I will not take these facilities and you should give me the cash. So that is not possible. This is known as CTC. That is the cost to company, and they are providing you. So this will be simply your personal income. No, that is not your personal income. In this CTC, various taxes will be deducted. Okay, even some interest will be offered. So after that your personal income is calculated, and after that some people say that my in hand salary is this. So that you can say that after adding all the interest and all that, you can say that yes, this is my personal income. Okay, and suppose overall 70,000 you are getting for this particular job. Okay, in the initial 3 to 4 years. Okay, so that is known as your personal income. Okay, I think it will be clear to you. This I had already explained. Now next is personal disposable income. When a personal direct taxes are subtracted from personal income, the obtained value is called disposable personal income, DPI. This is also a part which is okay in general asked in examination, not that much important, but from the personal direct taxes, when personal direct taxes are subtracted from personal income, that will be known as DPI. That's it. Okay. So this is the graphical representation from where you can understand the things. Like this is GNP. Okay. It includes everything and it is at market price. So remember this. Okay. When you had calculated NNP, what we had done from the market price, we had subtracted the depreciation. Okay. So no need to again study everything. Simply you have to be thorough with this particular graphical representation now, and after that everything will be clear. After that we had calculated the factor cost, okay, like from the production end. So there what we had done, we had subtracted the taxes and added the subsidies. Okay, this will be subsidies. Okay, so that has become the NNP at factor cost. And what we had done, when we had calculated the personal income, we had added the net payment transfer in that NNP. Okay, there can be a possibility that this can be positive also and this can be negative also. Like whatever the taxes you are paying, compared to that you are earning more interest. In that case, what will happen? The net transfer payment to your account, okay, that will be positive. And if suppose you are you had got deducted more taxes as compared to the interest you are earning, okay, or whatever the subsidies you are getting, in that case it will be simply negative. Okay, so in that case the personal income will be calculated. And disposable income, even from the personal income you have to subtract the direct taxes, so this will be remaining as disposable income. Further, okay, what is extra included in personal income? This DPI, okay, sorry, this direct taxes when you will be including, so that will be known as your personal income. And in that personal income, when you will be adding the or when you will be considering the indirect taxes and subsidies also, that will be considered as NNP at factor cost. Okay, and when you will be adding the depreciation, you will be getting that NNP at market price. Okay, and further this is GNP MP. Okay, that means at the market price. That's it. Okay, so I think it will be clear. This is the very important graphical representation which will be clearing all those concepts of national income. Okay, methods of measuring, that you need to read on your own. It's not that much important. Simply in examination, in MCQs, these are asked that what are the methods of measuring the national income. So one is the product method, second is the income method, third is the consumption method, and last so this is the three methods which are important for measuring the national income. Okay, so the four options will be given to you. These three options will be available and they will be telling you that which of the following is not a quantity which is used to measure the national income. Okay, so like for regarding the methods, they will be asking in the question. So apart from these three options, you have to take that option which is not a method of measuring your national income. So I think that you can even read this particular thing on your own. Okay, like I had given all the material, like I'm not giving the material or I'm telling that you should study on your own, but I'm simply telling you to simply have a read into that, into this. Okay, look into that, you will be getting everything very easily. Okay, and this is the overall symbol. Now talking about the estimates of national income of India. So the very first attempt was made by Dadabhai Naoroji. Okay, this is a very historical person, okay, in Indian history. So you can even study in history. I will be telling you. In 1868, there was a first attempt. So this is a very important question in the MCQ. It is important. He in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India estimated Indian per capita annual income at a level of ₹20 only. But it was at that duration in 1868. At that duration, this 20 rupees was of great importance. Like right now, I had told you that per capita income, I had told you it is rupees what 11,300 or 11,700 approximately. Okay, so that time the per capita income was 20 rupees. Okay, and that was the very first attempt which was made by Dadabhai Naoroji that time to define the national income. So what will happen, whatever the per capita income will be there, okay, so when you will be multiplying with the population, you will be getting the national income of India. That's it. Okay, some other economists followed it and gave various estimates of Indian national income. Some of these estimates are like further in 1911, Findlay Shiras, he had given the national income. So from per capita income, he had approximated this one. After that, in 1913-14, Wadia and Joshi, they had approximated this. And further, VKRV Rao in 1925-29, he has approximated this. So these data are not important. Just I had told you that how it is simply calculated. That I had already told you that from per capita income, I had already told you this formula, that if someone wants to calculate this national income, then what will happen? You will be, national income will be what? From per capita income, you can simply multiply the population. That's it. Okay, so in this terms also, even the MCQ can be asked. Okay, so I think it will be clear to you. Next is very important. It is very, very important for your DFCCL examination also. After independence, the government of India appointed the National Income Committee in August 1949 under the chairmanship of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis, okay, to compile authoritative estimates of national income. Okay, like previously, various Britishers were also there, various Britishers officials were also there, and some Indians are also there in the British officials. Okay, so they had approximated all this, but after the independence, the committee was formed under the chairmanship. See, under the chairmanship of, there was nothing like founder or something else, okay, CEO and something. No, there that time it was chairmanship. Like right now also in India, like the chairman is the highest, the post for a particular committee. Okay, so he was Professor P.C. Mahalanobis. Okay, so to compile the authoritative estimates of national income, for further estimations of national income, the government has established CSO, Central Statistical Organization. The full form of CSO is very, very important for your examination, which now regularly publishes the national income data. Okay, even now also this CSO publishes the national income data. But even I had told you that there are several flaws in the financial institutions in India. Like CSO is also one of them. This is also a kind of financial institution only, okay, which is publishing the data of national income, but there are several flaws. Okay, so that is the only reason also the economy of India is still not that much stable. Okay, that factor we will be covering when the whole syllabus of this economics will get covered, and when you will be having a very deep approach of economics. Okay, now one more institute, financial institute was there, and that is NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization. Okay, so these two institutes are very important, and they publish several indexes, and even the government has now ordered on May 23rd 2019 to merge this both financial institution for promoting the statistical network in our country. Okay, like always, like this creates a confusion that whatever the data which was published by CSO, that was little bit giving a different approximation. By NSSO, it was giving us some different approximation. That's why the government has ordered to simply merge that, and the new name is known as NSO. Okay, like right till now, even the day I am recording right now, okay, so even till now it's not totally get merged. Okay, but the newly merged name would be NSO, that is National Statistical Organization. So this is also a great for great importance for MCQs. Okay, the head of the organization will be designated as Chief of Statistician of India and will be having a rank of Chief Secretary. Like there will not be something like chairman. Okay, it will be like a Chief Secretary for this particular organization. Hope it will be clear to you. Now, there are various indicators of economic development that I had already told you, that there are various indexes based on that a country is simply designated as whether they are a developed country or in the developing phase, or whether they are developed. Okay, so some of the major indexes are NNP, per capita income, QLI, like the quality of life index, human development index. So all these things are there. What your work is there, like based on these index, what is India's current ranking? Okay, that you need to remember. Okay, like with respect to per capita income, what is the index ranking of India? With respect to NNP, what is the index ranking of India? With respect to QLI, what is the current ranking of India? And with respect to human development index, what is the current ranking? So I had already told you all these things earlier. So simply Google it down. Okay, and you should remember. So all, sir, where you will be including all these things in the MCQ, I will be asking. So that's why it's your work to Google it down. Okay. So I had already told you all these things. Okay, like this was only remaining, like NNP I had told you, per capita income I had told you. So quality of life index. One thing I should tell you, like there is a difference, like there is an economic development. Okay, so there are some different terms also. Okay, so that I will be telling you later on. So one of the index in that part is quality of life index. The index of quality of life depends upon mainly three factors: life expected, basic literacy, and it will be and okay, infant mortality rate. Like I had already told you in the very first lecture that economy of a particular country greatly depends upon the population of a country. And for a population, there are three very important factors: that what is the expected life of the people of a particular nation, what are their literacy, and what is the mortality rate. So most of the countries with low per capita GNP tends to have QLI and vice versa. Like if suppose some country which are ranked very in the very lower position in in this QLI, like sorry, in this GNP, then they used to publish their QLI index. Okay, so that they should simply seen as a superior country as compared to others. Okay, now human development index, HDI, very important, very important. Okay, it is one of the most recent and significant indicator of economic development of a country. Like based on this only, like a country is simply considered as a developed or a developing, okay, or non-developed. Okay, so this is the very recent thing. Okay, and it is a composite of three indicators: life expectancy index, education attainment index, and standard of living index. Okay, so based on these three indicators, this HDI is calculated, and the formula is cube root of life expectancy index and EAI, that is education attainment index, and SLI, that is standard of living index. So cube root of the product of all these three indexes will be giving you human development index. So this formula is important for MCQ. Okay, like someone will tell that how HDI is calculated, so this is that formula, so important for MCQs. Okay, now next is the theory of demographic transitions. So the demographic transition theory is also very important, because that theory was earlier given to show the economic development of a particular country. Okay, like previously the pre-industrial years were there. Okay, like in the 1800th century, it was like a pre-industrial area, sorry, pre-industrial period. Now even such situation is going with the industrial revolution period. Okay, in future it will be like all the revolutions will get over, and it will be the situation of post like industrial revolution period. Okay, so in this theory simply gives that in pre-industrial revolution the birth rates will also be high and death rates will also be high. Okay, so based on this, like I had already told you, that economy will be defined with respect to all these considerations like population, and population will be like, it will be like the birth net population increase will be like what, net birth minus net deaths, yes or no. So that's why the demographic transition theory was given, and directly it will be associated with that economic development. Okay, so this theory has simply given that in stage 1, when your country will be in pre-industrial revolution phase, in that time, at that time the birth rates will be higher and death rates will also be higher. Okay, right now you are going through the industrial revolution. So in that industrial revolution, what will be happening, the death rates will be getting decreased and the birth rates will be increased, which is happening right now. Okay, so whatever happening right now, it is actually been accepted by this demographic transition theory. Okay, and when suppose all this industrial revolution period will get over, then what will happen, the post industrial revolution period will come, and in that case what will happen, the birth rates will also decrease and death rates will also be decreasing. Okay, so all these things are there. Okay, and this will directly be impacting your economic development. Okay, like based on this, various economic development theories are also defined and some forecastings are also made. Okay, so this was all about this. Now, National Commission on Population. Okay, so because population is a very important criteria, the commission was actually constituted on May 11, 2000. It is chaired by Prime Minister with the Deputy Chairman Planning Commission, which is now known as Niti Aayog. Okay, after the 12th 5 terms plan, okay, it was simply diluted and a new committee was formed, which is known as right now the Niti Aayog. Okay, so all these things are there. So population commission is also under this one. Okay, and it is chaired by Prime Minister with this Niti Aayog. Okay, it provides overall guidance for population stabilization by promoting synergy between demographic, educational, environmental, and development programs. Like they try to promote and stabilize the population. Okay, by various means, like they will be telling you some demographic post happenings. Okay, by they all give these knowledge through educational mode also. Even they will be telling you that what are the disadvantages and advantages on the environment also. Okay, and what development programs can be hampered in future because of this population. So all these guidance are provided by the Prime Minister and Niti Aayog together. Okay, from this National Commission. Okay, Human Development Index. The very important question that can come here is that very first, which economist has developed the concept of HDI? So that was Mehboob ul Haq. Very important, I should tell you. Okay, now the indicators of HDI that I had already told you, LEI, this one and this one. So further also, when we are like I had already told you earlier that what is triple P. So after public private partnership, it is a different thing, but in terms of indexes, when you are talking about indexes, it is known as purchasing power parity. Okay, so this HDI, Human Development Index, in terms of these three is also calculated in this format. Okay, so I think it will be clear to you right now. Next is the meaning of HDI value. Like what is the range? Okay, like if suppose the range is above 0.791, so that is simply known, that country is has to be known as the country is having very high human development index. If it is between 0.699 to 0.790, it is known as high human development country. Okay, if the range is between this, it is medium human development, and when the range is between this, it is low human development. So Brazil and all, it comes in this region. This is the range where our India comes. Okay, so currently, like previously, India was in high human development index, okay, range, but from past 10 years or 20 years, I can say you that the human development index of India is in the range of this medium human development. Okay, and right now it is 0.645, and in 2019 India was on 129th place on human development index. Okay, so in the next video we will be practicing the questions based on this whole chapter. Okay, let us see. And talking about right now, okay, India ranked 131st position in 2020. India was ranked 131st position out of 189 countries. So previously in 2019 it was on 129th place. So again we had decreased by 2 position, and now we are on 131st position out of 189 countries.